Purchasing a home in America is today's topic, and I'm making a vlog. I decided to come outside so that I can be able to show the neighborhood and showing you what does that mean and the procedure you have to go through in order to buy a home in America. And especially for the immigrants, what do you need to do, things to avoid, things to build so that you can be able to purchasing a home. And here, this is my home where I live. This is Belton, Missouri, United States of America. It's not a very, very big home, but again, it depends where you live, which state you live, which city you live, which neighborhood you live will determine the price of the home. For instance, this is the same home like this one. If this home is in California, you are talking this home is at least $1 million, but $1 million. But if you come to my neighborhood, you come to Missouri, Kansas, Ohio, Texas, this is a normal home, and home less than 200,000 US dollar. So I want to give you just to understand, and before I continue, I just want to show you some of the areas here. So all these homes, they are around the same prices, around the same amount of money you can be able to purchase. The neighborhood is very, very safe around here. Majority of people are here, many they are older people, very few they are in my age with the family. So the purpose of this video is not to do a show off at all. It's just to explain the procedures, things I did on my end, and the things which I think if you are immigrant, if you do these things, you'll be able to buy a home. But also, if you are American citizen, it doesn't matter. Some of the process will be the same because they don't care whether you are a citizen, whether you are not a citizen. But I'm just trying to make sure that for immigrants, we are not starting on the same line like someone being born and raised in America. If you come here, you are starting from a certain stages back. You are coming here, let's say you are 30 years old, but at the age of 30, you are not like someone who has been here. There are certain things I'll be talking about which provide advantages for someone who was born here, who has lived here for a long time, to be able to purchase a home. So this is Belton, welcome, this is my home. And I'll go, keep talking. As I said, this is a vlog. I'll be going to my backyard and I'll be talking from my backyard to continue showing you what does that mean to purchasing a home in the United States of America. So as I said, there are a couple of things which you have to consider before purchasing a home. Number one thing in order to purchase a home in America is your income. They are looking on the income. So the income, it has to be a sustainable income. So you can be either doing some employment, doing some business, employing yourself, or you can be having income basing on employment. You are employed by certain company, you have a sustainable income with the W-2, which is just like the documentation, tax return, all those other things which will be able to help you. So this is at my backyard. I like this house or this neighborhood because it provides a big backyard where the kids can be able to play around. So it's a little bit bigger, and over there is where I usually do my gardening, as you can see, where I have my kids, Claire, Benedict. Faustina is not doing anything yet, where I do my gardening there to train my kids, make sure that they understand. These are some of my equipment. I usually do some cardio here. I can also do some running back and forth. I have enough space around here. And this is the house at the back, how it is. So, as I was continuing talking about, is number one thing is income. You need to show the income which you are having. And it's not just you get a job today and then, oh, I have this income. They look a little bit the employment history. Are you able to keep employment? Things of that nature. That is number one. And I'll be talking about that one. But if you are self-employed, you have, like if you have your own business, you have to show the income at least sustainable for 3 years. Because self-employment is a little bit different from if you're just employed direct. If you say, oh, I'm doing some business on Amazon, or I'm just selling my books, so they want to see the sales of your things. And especially like if you are not selling a lot of money. But if you are selling like here and there, maybe 3,000 today, next month 4,000, another day 1,000, that is a little bit different. But if you have self-business and it's giving you 1,000, and like 20,000 per month, they don't go to look about 3 years how sustainable that is. So that's the number one. But again, you need to have good income and proof of you'll be able to be doing some monthly payment. And this has been a little bit strict after following the following the market crash back in 2008, 2009. So a little bit more not giving just the loan. Even if you're working at a minimum wage dollar job, they give you just the loan like how it used to be. So now is a little bit strict on that particular area. Another thing which is very important to consider, which is giving disadvantage to immigrants, people coming to America at later age, is credit score. So I will be having a separate video talking about credit cards and credit score. So what is credit card or credit score in general? Let's start with the credit score. Credit score is what they want to find out you as someone is a trustworthy. How trustworthy are you to be given a loan? Will you be able to pay back? So usual, when you are having maybe renting a house, when you do monthly payment, when you have a phone company, you are having a phone which is a contract, when you have bill for water, electricity bill, you have credit card. Once you do a monthly payment, you'll be able to create a credit history. And a credit history is a history will be used to prove that this person, if he's given some money, will be able to pay back. You are showing some sort of responsibility. And you build credit history for over a long time. It's not just for you paid like today, you get the credit card tomorrow, then you are going to build history. It is a history. It can go even 10 years, 5, 10, 15 years. So you can build it for enough time. So that is bigger thing, which is making disadvantage for many immigrants in America. And I was one among the victims of the credit history, credit score. So it takes a long time. So for that case, if you can build a credit history for 5 years or 10 years, so technically you cannot just jump here in America and, oh, I want to buy a house. Unless otherwise you are a millionaire and you are going to pay a lot of money, that is a problem. So credit score is starting from a certain number. In most cases, 350 to 850, whatever, something like that. So some people, they get a perfect 800, whatever those kind of score. But if you have 650 and above, or 620, many companies will be able to give you the home loan. So that is something you have to consider to build the credit. But the mistake we are having, as I said, like there are two things immigrants we are having on here. Number one is when we come here, let's say you are already 30 years old, or 28 years old, or 35 years old, 40 years old. You haven't built, so you come here, even if you used to have a good job in your country, even if you have a resource in your country, they don't translate and count here in the US. So you have to start going to have a credit card, and they don't trust you, they'll give you 500. So the point is how you build the credit history. You have to use that card, buy something, and make sure you make a monthly payment. And the monthly payment, there is a minimum, maybe $20, I'm giving you an example. So you have to pay at least even 21, 25, 20, whatever. I will talk more about how you can perfect your credit score. It's a game. But these people who are born here in America, they have advantage. At the age of 15, maybe 16, their parents start getting them the credit card. And they monitor that credit card. So when they are they're in college, they know how the procedure, what to do to create or to perfect the credit score. So when they go to buy something, how does that credit score help them? It is going to be the determining factor for the percentage you are going to be given. What will be the rate of your loan? Is it going to be home loan for 4%, 3%, 5%? Credit score will be helped to determine the APR for your loan. The percentage you will be paying back. So that is very, very important. How you can create your credit history. We have that disadvantage. Another disadvantage we are having, when we come here, we do not know what is credit card, what is credit history. We do not know. So for that case, you are getting a credit card, you are starting spending. You see, this is extra money. You are starting sending money in Africa, you are sending money in your Latin America country, you are sending money in Asia. You are starting, okay, let me buy things which I didn't have in Africa. We did all those mistakes. And the other worst part is majority of us immigrants, we have a problem of not helping one another in this kind of situation. For instance, I have the problem with my credit card, for instance. I didn't know. But someone else is coming today. My job is supposed to be helping that person to know from day one what is the credit card, what is credit score, how can you build your credit history. We need to pass this information. Because without passing this information, what happens? The same person is going to have the same mistake you did. And sometimes immigrants, not all, but majority of them, especially from some of the African countries, we have a tendency of letting others also to have a hard way. Let them learn in the hard way. Because I had this difficult life when I came to America. I came to figure out maybe 5 years later. I let the other people also have some tortures, get some stress. But that is not supposed to be. Someone comes here from day one, please make sure that you share the information. Tell the person, once you get the credit card, make sure you pay on time. And pay a little bit more, even if it will be $1, $2 more on the credit, because it's a computer. On the computer is going to generate, oh, this person paid above the minimum required. So you get extra point. So that is a technique. Americans, they have that one, especially white people. They are so smart on this area to train their kids. From day one, they are still kids to how to perfect the credit score. You find someone is working minimum dollar per dollar job, like he's 17 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old, but is having a perfect credit score. If he's going to buy a car, the interest rate is very, very small. He's going to buy a home, the interest rate is very, very small. So you have to perfect your interest rate. To get interest rate, you have to perfect your credit score to be the perfect score. Even if you don't have money, it's not about how much bigger money you have. It's all about, do you pay? Even if your credit card is $500 credit limit, but are you paying on time? Because in the end, it's not about how much. If you delay payment, it doesn't matter whether your loan is 500 or your loan is 1 million. It's just you are destroying your credit history. So as immigrants, we come here, oh, they don't care, they don't bring me the police to my house, so for that case, I can just go ahead and do whatever I want. I don't pay. Sometimes we do that because we assume that if someone is not coming to you, but you do not know if they put on the debt collection, how that is going to affect, how many years is going to be on your history. So that is affecting most of the immigrants into purchasing the home is credit history. It's not about the job. People come here, okay, we started like from the beginning working on the warehouse, but after some time, 3-4 years, you'll have a good job. But still you have a good job, but you cannot be able to afford your home because you have already destroyed your credit or you don't have a history. And avoiding not having a credit card is still a worst situation you are doing because you don't have history. So if you don't go on the cash economy like how we are in Africa, how we are in Asia, everything you are buying by a cash. Here you have to use a card. By using a credit card, by using this kind of situation, you are building your trustworthiness. Someone can trust you to give a low interest loan for the car. You cannot buy a brand new car unless otherwise you have good money. You cannot just buy $500,000 home by cash unless others you are rich, you are a millionaire. But in most cases you can't. So what can we do? Let's find a way to perfect the credit score from day one you arrive in America. That is supposed to be a priority for us. And immigrants are making a call for you. Please, if anybody comes from another country to America, the first thing, don't destroy your credit history. Don't get a credit card, but don't destroy it. This is how you can perfect your scores so that it can be easier for someone to own the house. Okay, we talked about the income, we are talking about the credit card. But another part which is also hindering many people to buy a house is down payment. In order to buy a house, you have to pay down payment. Down payment is a certain amount of money you'll be paying. For instance, you are purchasing a house for $500,000. You are supposed to pay up to 20%, sometimes cash in advance, like this one is a down payment, something to start with. So how are you going to get down payment of 20,000, 40,000, 50,000, for instance, depending on the price of the house? If you are buying a $500,000 home, down payment will be high. It will be at least $500,000. I mean, it will be at least 5,000. I'm talking of 50,000. So if it's a little bit more, 40,000 is a lot of money, cash. Remember, we are in America where you get all the money in one pocket and all the money goes in another way. The government takes the tax, you have to pay for the health insurance, you have to pay for the apartment, you have to pay for the daycare if you have kids, you have to pay for all expenses. You end up with maybe 100 less. I mean, you can have very small amount of money. So per year, how much money are you going to save? Will be still very small amount of money to be able to save. So for that case, you are creating a problem. You are putting many years. So you can be here for 15 years, 20 years without having a home. You are still living in your apartment. But this is how it works. Let's say you are in the apartment, you are paying $1,000 per month. Per year is 1,000. Add there, you are talking about 12,000. Assume you lived for over 10 years in your apartment. That is 120,000. Let's say you live in 15 years. That is almost 150,000. So you lived in your apartment for 15 years in America, paying 1,000 minimum. That is 150,000. But that 150,000 you paid to a landlord. You paid to a company owning that apartment. If you don't own anything. But if you have a house, this is my house. If I have this one, I keep paying. Let's say I've lived here for 15 years. If I paid 150,000, already this is my. Let's say I paid almost more than half of my house. Or let's say I paid all of it. So let's say I lived for, my mortgage is 30 years. The mortgage when you are getting here is 30 years. So let's say my mortgage is 30 years. I lived for 15 years. The price of the home goes higher. If I bought the house for 200,000, I'm giving you an example, and I paid half of it, 100,000. So if I sell the house for 200,000, I still get half of it for me because that I already paid off. It is my money. So I'll pay the bank the rest of it, which I owe the bank. So you see, the advantage of having a house is when you pay the money, you pay, even if you come to sell the house for the same price you bought, it is the same way. But in this kind of neighborhood, the obvious house is an asset, is going higher the price, unless otherwise the neighborhood goes bad. But this one, because let's say, for instance, like last 3 weeks ago, they put the new road here. It was a little bit older. They are building a few other things. So even if within 5 years, the price of this house will be going higher. So if I sell the house, the money above and the money which I paid for will come back to me. I'll pay the rest of it to the bank. So the advantage of having an apartment, having a house on your own as a mortgage, wherever you pay, you are investing. But if you stay in your apartment even for 20 years, you paid for someone you own nothing at all. So if you move from that house, your apartment, you move with your bags. So that is what I'm trying to make sure that how are you able to get the down payment? It's very difficult to save the money in America. Other people, you need to sometimes have 2 jobs or even sometimes 3 jobs to be able to get enough money to save, because there is a tax, there is so many other bills you have to pay, which are necessary bills you must pay. A cell phone, for instance, whether you make a phone call or don't make a phone call, you pay on a monthly bill this amount. So those are the things. So how it worked on my end for me, because it was difficult to have the saving money to get everything, so I did another option. I joined the U.S. military. If you served in the U.S. military, whether it's in Navy, Marine, U.S. Air Force, Air Force, whether it's just Army, whatever branch you serve, you are given the what we call VA home loan, Veteran Affairs home loan, where I don't need to pay down payment. There are certain amount of costs I have to pay, will be like inspection and a few other things, but I don't pay that 20% down payment for my house. That's what I did. So I found like, should I wait for a longer time, or just I can take a shortcut, join the military and have a VA home loan guarantee. which I don't pay the down payment. Those are some of the advantages of saving in the US military. Okay, so this is what I was just trying to explain to you. How are you able to purchase a home in America? What you need to do. Build your credit history. Have a very consistent kind of job. Don't quit a job after every short time, because that is liability when you are going to find buying a home. You need to have a little bit consistency, at least 1 year, whatever. But not after 2 months you are moving to another job, things of that nature. They don't trust you. So, and then you need to have a very good credit history and down payment. So if you didn't save in the military, so consider yourself finding to have enough money saving for down payment. For me, I decided to take another route, which is finding a way on how I can finance my home, getting a loan without down payment, which was a shortcut joining the US military. Now I'm the veteran, and this week is a Veterans Week, which we are happy about saving our country, the United States of America. So if you have any question about purchasing a home in America, please hit me here. If you have any challenges about credit, I will have a separate video explaining about how you can perfect your credit history. Myself, I still have a problem with my credit cards. My credit history, I'm working on cleaning it, because I didn't get this kind of advice at the beginning when I arrived in America. So we end up doing a lot of mistake. You have a credit card, you just go to it, even you do unnecessary expenses and you don't pay on time. So we did all these mistakes. I don't want others to have these kind of mistakes. So thank you, everyone. And this is Ernest Boniface Makulilo talking to you from my home, Belton, Missouri, United States of America. Goodbye, everyone. And remember to subscribe to my channel here and watch these suggested videos above me. Bye-bye.